Greetings and happy Sunday, grand rising, one and all. Please, namaste. Thank you once again for your kind visit. I happily welcome you into my dimension. Today is a beautiful Sunday here in Toronto. It is the last weekend in May 2022. We're heading into June, and hopefully we'll have many more sunny days ahead. Since the beginning of spring, we've had a lot of inconsistent weather, as is usual, I suppose, and hopefully now it will settle in for a few months. So, without further ado, today I wanted to give you a quick view not only of the valley, but a quick insight into another fantastic book I've been reading. And the title may seem a little daunting or a little strange to some, but if you, again, are open-minded and are curious, it is a really eye-opening book. So the name of this one is called God-Man, the Word Made Flesh, and it's not as religious as it may seem. There's a lot of science involved in it. The wording is a little unusual. It was written many years ago, so it's a little unfamiliar to our current palette, I'll put it as. And I was about to read the next chapter when I thought, hey, why not make a video out of it so others may possibly benefit too. Before we get to the book, I'd like to show you a quick view of two little experimental biospheres I am working on. They're essentially plants or containers I've filled with dirt and water and some random apple seeds a couple years ago. I think that was about it. And from such sparse beginnings, there's a lush little rainforest that's springing up inside these containers. So let's take a quick look and of course, here's little Chewy, my little puppy. She's really a kitty, but she's also a puppy and a baby wolf. And she's always by my side, checking out what's going on, and she's enjoying the beautiful sunshine, taking in the sights and sounds from downstairs as well. Here are the two containers. Now this is my first little rainforest in the making, and I'll take the lid off in a second, but hopefully the water droplets that are naturally forming will show up on the recording. I also have, for atmosphere, I've added a fake little canary in there. This one looks more like a science experiment, so I have a lid on a glass jar, and the sunshine is creating water droplets. Let's see if we can zoom in. And first of all, without inhaling too much, let's here's the lid. There's a lot of water. There's the birdie. There's the lush green Amazonian type rainforest. It's interesting to see what grows when you leave nature to take its course, and honestly this was just soil and water, and I left it like that for a bit, and little green shoots were popping up. I believe it's moss, and so I decided I had some organic apple seeds lying around, I decided to throw these in, and we don't see little apple trees growing, but somehow I do believe that these seeds added some nutrition to the soil, and yes, definitely there's magic in the making in this container. My next step is to try to create a natural aquarium for a little fishy. And I'm also debating if it's good or not, or if I'm okay with having a little fishy trapped in a container, or instead leaving it to its natural existence. Chewy, don't inhale. Okay, so here's another container. Here's Chewy. Try to check out what's going on. Chewy, Chewy, be very careful. So this one here used to be a little terrarium with a few plants in it, and essentially I've just added some soil and water, and these have thrived even throughout a couple of harsh winters being left out on the balcony. So that was pretty fascinating for me. Each spring they turn green, each winter the green subsides to brown, and I'm always amazed at how life continues, especially if we don't interfere too much with it. There's a glimpse. A glimpse is a glimpse and a glance mixed together. So here's one of those of the exterior of the container. It looks kind of grungy, but oh well, this is how primordial life began, right? So there we go. Okay, now that you've seen some interesting sights, I'm going to read to you, hopefully, some interesting words. I will, of course, share a link in the section below. Now, the section I'm about to read to you is called The Journey of Joseph and Mary. A marvelous story of the journey of Joseph and Mary to Jerusalem to pay their taxes, physiologically explained. On either side of the thalamus, in the head, is a gland known in physiology as the pineal on the posterior, and the pituitary on the anterior side of the thalamus. The pineal is cone-shaped and secretes a yellow or golden fluid. The pituitary body opposite it is ellipsoid in shape and contains a whitish secretion like milk. The fluids that are found in both these bodies come from the same source, namely the claustrum, which means barrier or cloister, and is referred to as cloister for the very good reason that a precious and holy thing is secreted or secluded there. St. Claus, or Santa Claus, is another term for this precious fluid, which is indeed a holy gift in the body of each one of us. The precious fluid which flows down from the claustrum separates, part going into the pineal gland and part to the pituitary body, and these, being special laboratories in the head, differentiate the fluid from the claustrum, and it takes on the colors above mentioned, and in the pineal gland becomes yellow and has electric properties. The pituitary body, having the milk-like fluid, has magnetic properties. These two glands are the male and female, the Joseph and Mary of the physical body, and are the parents of the spiritual son born in the solar plexus of each human being, commencing about the age of 12. This yellow and white material, which is the milk and honey referred to in the Bible, the children of Israel have been given the promise of a return to this land flowing with milk and honey, at last reaches the solar plexus via semi-lunar ganglia, the Bethlehem of the physical body. In Hebrew, Bethlehem means house, Beth of bread, Lehem. I am the bread of life, said the allegorical Jesus. In the solar plexus is a thimble-shaped depression, a cave or manger. And in this is deposited the psychophysical seed or holy child born of this immaculate conception. This psychophysical seed is also called fish, as it has the odor of fish and is formed in the midst of the waters, the pure water. Jesus is a fish in the midst of the waters, St. Augustine. Before birth, the human fetus floats like a fish in the fluids by which it is surrounded. And as it is with the child formed in the generative plane, so it is with the spiritual child born in the solar plexus, the Bethlehem. Joseph and Mary, by furnishing the material for the spiritual child, which was to redeem the child or body formed in generation, paid the symbolic redemption money. Holy Ghost is Greek for breath. The breath descending in the pneumogastric nerve into the solar center enters the manger where Joseph and Mary are. And where is Jesus, the seed, literally conceived by the Holy Ghost. So I hope that piqued your interest even a tiny bit. It goes on and on. I've made it up to where my paperclip is, and once we start opening our minds and entertaining different ways of looking at the world and different ways of looking at stories and narratives that are fed to us, the more we begin to see the bigger picture of what is going on. And things aren't always the way they are immediately presented to us, right? So, in terms of waking up, in terms of expanding our consciousness, in terms of helping our spirits to rise and shine, we do need to take action. We have to be active participants in the process and will ourselves to become more open-minded, to become more aware, to become more contemplative, contemplating different bits of information instead of just allowing external forces or external parties to feed us with information and just and us just digesting as though it is gospel, because nothing is really known. One of the greatest things I think I ever learned was that all we are really aware of and all we can really say for sure to ourselves is, I think, and therefore I am. But even further than that, it's the concept of knowing that, well, yes, I am thinking, so what does that mean? And once we start pondering along those lines, oh, universe opens up to us, and it's really beautiful and amazing. And I will continue to share some of the interesting books I'm reading with you in the hopes that these books will prompt you to explore further too. So thank you as always for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed that. This one, yes, God, man, I'm not sure about how this will show up. I'm playing it by ear here, but here we go. Zoom out. The word made flesh. This is what we are. And I know to some it might sound really out there and unscientific and so on and so forth, but the more we explore scientific thought in its real and natural forms, the more we go further and further out into the great out there, and the more we learn, right? And I think that's part of the name of the game while we're here on planet Earth, is to learn as much as possible, fill our spirits, our consciousnesses with as much information as possible so we can take it back to the great source when we go back. So on that note, I thank you once again for tuning in. It's always such a treat, such a pleasure. And before we conclude, I'll give you some more beautiful views of the awesome greenery that's just blossomed within, let's say, 3 blinks of the eye. It's incredible to see how quickly the valley goes from being bare and barren to lush and just filled with vibrant life. I wish you all a great happy Sunday and amazing week ahead. Do always try to start your day with filling yourselves with beautiful sights and sounds. I know it's not always easy. If you don't have beautiful sights like this immediately available to you, then the next best thing I think is to try to fill your consciousness, your vibrations, tune them to beautiful sounds. I do this as part of my daily ritual, I'll call it, especially while I'm in the shower, when you're at your most vulnerable, most open. You bombard yourself with awesome sounds. That's such an easy way to tune yourself to a higher frequency than what you could be pulled into when you enter into the shared space with others, right? So I'll share with you in another video my awesome shower routine, because I do believe it's magical, and I'm sure many of you do too. So I could go on and on and on, but it's going on noon. I should tidy up and try to get outside into nature, breathe in and absorb in and be immersed in the great, amazing life force that is flowing right here. And I'll let you get to it too. So as always, thank you very, very much. Stay great, stay safe, stay beautiful. Till our paths cross once again. Peace out for now. Ciao. Jake. You said ciao, die too.